Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Sportscast Jersey. Today we are joined by Joe Parkinson, who has just become a double Ironman. How are you doing, Joe?
Oh, mate, yeah, good. How are you?
Yeah, good, thanks. Good. I kind of want to go back to the start before going through the incredible effort last weekend. When did the idea first come to your mind that you wanted to attempt it?
Um, well, I did the Ironman last year, and that was a journey. And then I was like, well, wouldn't it be cool to do a triathlon? Um, I run around Jersey as the run, and then I worked out the distance, um, difference basically between the marathon at the Ironman and around Jersey, and it was 180%. So I was like, well, times everything by 180%. Do that. But then I thought, well, if I'm doing 180%, I might as well do 200%. So yeah, decided to do that. It's been in my mind. I wanted to tick off, excuse me. There's a brain fog. Something over 24 hours. I had a 100-mile run lined up in May, but I couldn't do that for injury. So um, as I wanted to build my training volume, I knew I could get timing on the bike. I knew I could do some swimming because it's all obviously no impact off feet stuff. So just thought now's the time.
Yeah, yeah. You touched on it there, training wise. Obviously, it's a massive challenge, a massive feat just to try it. So, training, how long had you been training for specifically for this, and what goes into that training as well?
uh, I don't necessarily train specifically until I have an idea in my head. So way I like to train, a lot of people now are calling it hybrid training. Some people will just brand it fitness. Some people call it general physical preparedness. But basically, I want to be in a position where I can go, right, that sounds cool. Let's go for that. And then I'll try and condition myself in a window for that. Obviously, this is on the larger side. So, specific training probably about 12 weeks out. A lot of the running I do is fatigued. Obviously, in triathlon, great. I'm coming off the bike. I wanted to run under fatigue. So, a lot of my training was brick sessions. So, I'd do a cycle into a run, just low zone two stuff. So it's sort of just like everything just seemed to go right.
Yeah,
This is what you can train hard for because it obviously was hard. Then there was a lot of hours put in. Um, so yeah,
yeah.
do it, I guess.
How are you feeling like the night before the challenge? Were you nervous? Were you excited?
Uh, I normally struggle with nerves. Um, I was strangely confident at this one. A lot of that was to do with the help. Um, Now, saying that, there's huge anxiety for me around swimming. I learned to swim last year. It's a big deal. It doesn't matter if I'm swimming 50 meters or 500 meters. Like the face in the water is pretty terrifying. The conditions were sort of up in the air because the forecast was pretty horrific. Um, got a bit lucky. Now I don't know much about tides and stuff, so I went in completely naive. But a friend joined me and said it's a massive tide. There's going to be lots of tide, basically. Um, so I experienced that, but I'd done the training. I was basically I had milestones I wanted to hit. I wanted to hit a 6.1 kilometer swim because I leave myself an Olympic distance swim of or triathlon swim of 1500. I knew I could do that, so mentally that was ticked. I wanted to hit 250k because I thought, well, if I get to 250k, it's sort of almost downhill. 110 left, I'll tick it off 10 at a time. So there's milestones I managed to hit, which I was worried about not hitting. Having hit them, that helped me feel more confident.
Yeah,
However, still like the restless night, you play it out in your head, right? What if this happens? What if that happens? Like pre-football match or any sporting event, you know what I'm trying to say.
yeah.
So what was the question? There's a brain fog. Yeah,
Just
I was weirdly confident, but there was some apprehension around the scale of it.
yeah,
Um, it's hard to be nervous for something that's going to take so long because you're almost nervous for 12, 13, 14 hours beyond because that's when it starts getting real tough. Um, so complete mash of emotion around this one, really.
Yeah, yeah. In terms of obviously huge distances, you kind of touched on it there for each one.
Yeah.
How did you get through the harder times? That there would have been walls in there, there would have been tougher times. How did you break through that?
Um, well, one was having people there with me. That was a huge help. Without them people there, it's a completely different battle. Uh, Loneliness and that sort of stuff. Um, you do go to dark places, and I did go to some very dark places, especially on the run. Um, but it's being confident that I've done it before and I've come through it before. Like I'm at the moment building like a portfolio of evidence, if you like, that I can do hard things. And I just had sort of this mantra or this phrase I was saying, which was, "You can do hard things," um, which someone told me that I was sort of replaying in my head.
Yeah,
I do these things to test my limits. If I found my limit on this challenge, then that would that would be that. I have to make peace with it. Um, but managed to get through with mindset and the support of other people.
yeah,
Could I have got through without the support of other people? Maybe. I can't guarantee I would have. I can't guarantee I wouldn't have. But the people there were huge.
yeah, yeah. I want to touch on those guys, and obviously there was a lot of people supporting you along the way, and even in the journey leading up to it as well. And how do you want to give them a shout out, and how important are they on this journey as well?
Yeah, I mean, huge. This challenge is probably one of the best analogies for life, I guess. Like if you were to think about the distance of this triathlon with a 7.6 kilometer swim, a 360-kilometer bike, and an 84.4 kilometer run, that's overwhelming to anyone. But if you break that down and lean on people, it's doable, and I think that transfers to life. Like break down, right? It's a 7.6k swim, yes, but how am I going to tackle that and tick off each box? Same in training. And I was asking people for advice. I went to Big Maggie's who were phenomenal, said, right, I'm not a cyclist. How do I tackle the swim? Excuse me, the brain fog cycle. And I had advice from them, and they helped me with routes. I was going to plan a route going down into Bully Bay and up the hills, and they were like, suicide, don't do it. Make it easier for yourself. So there was still a decent amount of elevation there, but not to the extent I was planning. Um, I was stubborn in the run. I knew I wanted to go around Jersey because that's where the idea sort of formed. But yeah, without the guidance of those people, the challenge is not possible. And without them there on the day, Big Maggie's lend in the shop, even out of hours. So after the rain on Saturday evening, to have a shower before running was an absolute lifesaver. My friend Michael and my brother Aaron obviously came over from Manchester, and they were there on hand. Everything was ready. My food was ready that I'd prepared. Um, all my drinks were sorted for the bike, so it made the transition so much smoother. Emily from Big Maggie's was sort of a rolling aid station on the run when things started getting really dark. My friends joined me for the swim and the cycle when I was by myself in the middle of the night. Like it's people ran further than they've ever ran before and swam further than they've ever swam, cycled further than they've ever cycled. Like there's loads of reasons to celebrate. And I just feel like the people around me helped me and inspired me along the way. Like, well, he's just ran the furthest ever ran. I can do this. He
Yeah,
just swam the furthest ever swam. I can do it. Do you know what I'm trying to say? So those people around me were huge.
yeah,
I'm overwhelmed when I think about it, and the support and the sacrifice that people showed this weekend is, yes, I've so much gratitude.
yeah, yeah. Incredible. And I want to touch on the finishing line feeling as well, and getting there and seeing the support there as well. And just what was the feeling like inside when you got to that finish?
Uh, it's hard. It wasn't relief. It was a little bit, but I was obviously like, right, well, this is done. But if you'd have spoke to me in St. Albans, 6k from the finish, I was done.
Yeah,
I was absolutely cooked, and I had I don't know how many people running with me, and they've dragged me across the line. Like I was convinced I was done. I had to take off my pack, which I was carrying, because it was just so hot. I was sweating so much, like my body was shutting down. Um, Now I did my best for fueling, I did my best for hydration, but at a certain stage, you just don't want to put any more in the system. So it was relief getting there, joy for finishing and achieving the goal I set myself, and then just overwhelmed with the people who came down again, gave their time throughout the challenge. I've not even mentioned half of them. And seeing them across the line, it was special, really special.
Yeah, yeah. And how good has the reaction been? Obviously, world of social media, and how
Yeah.
good has that been as well?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not huge on social media, obviously. Like I share every now and then, but Michael sort of took the reins, I guess, and he was sharing people and updating people, and he was telling me that he was getting loads of positive messages and people getting right behind it, which obviously at the time I was like, okay, great. I didn't really know I was sort of focused. And then to open up Instagram and have honestly so many messages, and I know people say that, but truly so many messages that I've gone back and thanked people for. I overwhelmed. Like for me, I'm just an average guy doing silly things, challenging my limits, and the fact that people got behind it is incredible.
Yeah, yeah. One question about recovery. How's it going? How are you feeling right now?
Body isn't too bad. I was up and about Monday, sort of walking around, did a few bits in town and stuff. Um, Brain fog's the worst. Like I feel like as you've probably experienced here, I'm not articulating too well. I'm making silly mistakes. I just feel not quite at it. Sleep's tricky because I'm all out of rhythm. Obviously, didn't sleep for the challenge. And there's a huge high afterwards, so adrenaline's up. So I'm just like trying to respect the process. Right now, I feel good. Post-event blues are obviously very real. So at some stage, I know there's going to be a come down. I've hit a peak. My routine's going to change. My training hours are going to change. Um, like there's going to be lots of differences. A goal I had in mind and worked so hard for is now gone, and it's like, well, what next? So it's going to be a low. I just need to respect that process. Take any expectation off myself. Eat well, sleep right,
Yeah,
train sensibly, which is not training at the moment, and yeah, just respect it basically.
yeah, yeah. Um, Last kind of question from me today. In terms of you've done a lot of challenges and we've seen you in the past absolutely smash some incredible things, but where does this one rank for you?
Um, yeah, top. It's the hardest thing I've ever done, bar none, and I doubt whether it would have been possible without the support I received. Um, Coming out of it with like a new outlook. I don't want to be cliche, but like I didn't realize quite how special the people around me were. That was the big one. So life changing, I suppose.
Yeah,
Sorry.
nah, good, good, mate, good. Congratulations again, and thank you for your time today.
Cheers, mate. I appreciate that.
Top man. Thank you to everyone who's watched or listened to this episode. Another episode is coming soon.